You know, when you try to picture like modern fertility treatment, there's this very specific, almost cinematic image that probably pops into your head right away.
Oh, yeah. Very sterile, very clinical.
Right. You're picturing this pristine, highly sanitized laboratory. Like it's all high-powered microscopes, petri dishes, cryogenic freezers humming in the background.
Basically, doctors in scrubs performing literal microscopic miracles.
Exactly. It feels entirely rooted in, cutting-edge 21st century biotechnology.
It feels like engineering, doesn't it? Like it's very precise, incredibly clinical, and just heavily reliant on the absolute latest technological hardware.
Yes. It feels like you're building something in a clean room. But I was looking through our research stack for today's deep dive, and it turns out if you walk into some of the most advanced, high-tech fertility clinics operating right now, you're going to find something right down the hall from those incubators that completely shatters that sci-fi image.
It really does. It's a total contrast.
You'll find patients lying quietly in, dimly lit, warm rooms, receiving these ancient therapies like acupuncture and highly targeted, customized herbal treatments.
And they aren't, hiding this practice in the basement either. It's front and center.
Right. So welcome to this custom deep dive into the rapidly evolving landscape of reproductive health. For you, the listener, whether you're just insanely curious about where medical science is actually heading, or perhaps you're navigating some of these complicated fertility questions yourself, we're going to bypass the overwhelming information overload out there.
Which is so needed right now. There's just so much noise.
So much noise. So we've got a stack of really fascinating sources today. We're pulling excerpts from the book, The Integrative Path to Optimal Fertility and Reproductive Health, clinical breakdowns from holistic healthcare centers and Rupa Health, and some hard data from recent issues of the medical journals Frontiers in Endocrinology and Fertility and Sterility.
Some really heavy hitters in the research world.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission today is to figure out the how and the why. Like, why are traditional holistic therapies suddenly becoming standard fixtures in high-tech fertility clinics?
Okay, let's unpack this. Because, this feels like a massive cultural and medical shift from even just a decade ago.
Oh, it's a seismic shift in how we approach human biology.
Yeah.
And to really grasp what's happening on the clinic floor, we should look at what patients themselves are doing.
Right, follow the patients.
Exactly. The data in these sources points out this staggering statistic that perfectly illustrates this change. Roughly 50% of people going through fertility treatment right now are using some form of complementary holistic support.
Wait, 50%? Like half the entire patient population is doing this.
Half, yeah.
That's not some tiny niche wellness trend on social media then.
Not at all. Acupuncture, for example, has moved completely out of the fringe category. It is now offered directly inside the programs of many conventional fertility clinics.
And the reason doctors are integrating it isn't just to, make the patient feel calm before a procedure. The medical journals highlight that it's an actual physiological, mechanical intervention.
Okay, wait, how so?
Well, acupuncture actively encourages physical blood flow directly to the ovaries and the uterus.
Okay, I want to pause and zoom in on that because the physical mechanics are where I usually get tripped up. If a practitioner puts a tiny needle in my ankle or, my arm, how on earth does my reproductive system know about it?
Right. It seems like magic, but it's not.
Yeah, what is the actual mechanism making the blood flow happen down there?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it comes down to how our nervous system is wired. When a practitioner inserts an acupuncture needle, they're stimulating specific sensory nerves right under the skin.
Okay, I'm with you.
Your nervous system detects that tiny microstimulation and sends a signal straight up to your brain. And then your brain releases localized vasodilators.
Vasodilators. Those are, what do they do exactly?
They're chemicals that essentially tell the smooth muscles in your blood vessels to relax and widen.
Oh, I see. So it's basically opening up the highway lanes.
Opening the lanes, expanding the capillaries, and allowing this rush of fresh, oxygen-rich blood to reach areas that might have been, restricted or constricted.
Wow. Okay.
In the context of fertility, we're talking about directing that vital circulation straight to the pelvic region. Think about the uterine lining, for instance.
Right. Super important for IVF.
Exactly. For an embryo to successfully implant and grow, that lining needs to be thick, spongy, and rich in nutrients. That widened highway effect physically builds and maintains that specific environment.
I see. So we aren't just crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. We're actively pumping the required materials to the construction site.
Yes, and it goes even deeper than the lining, right down to the micro level of the eggs themselves.
Wait, really? The eggs get directly affected?
They do. By improving that vascular circulation to the ovaries, this process helps deliver significantly more oxygen and nutrients to the developing follicles.
Okay, quick terminology check. I've seen the word follicle used a lot in these journals. Is that the egg itself, or is that something different?
Good distinction. No, the follicles are the little fluid-filled sacs inside the ovaries that actually house and incubate the maturing eggs before they're ever released.
Oh, got it. They're like the incubator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you increase the microcirculation to those specific sacs, you're literally creating better-nourished incubators.
Makes total sense.
And the clinical data from our sources shows that better-nourished follicles are fundamentally more likely to produce eggs that are chromosomally normal and capable of successful fertilization.
That is incredible.
What's fascinating here is how ancient practices, which mapped out energy and blood flow thousands of years before we even knew what a chromosome was, are now being validated by modern clinical evidence at a microscopic cellular level.
Yeah, it makes me think of the ovaries like a highly sensitive botanical garden.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Like you can't just take a rare, delicate seed, toss it in some dry dirt, and expect it to bloom. You need the surrounding environment to be absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
So in this scenario, it sounds like acupuncture is acting like an upgraded, highly sophisticated irrigation and ventilation system. It's ensuring that the specific microenvironment around the seed has exactly the oxygen and the nutrients it needs to actually thrive.
That analogy actually maps perfectly onto the biology.
Yeah.
You are optimizing the soil before you ever worry about the sprout.
Love that.
But, as the research in the integrative path reveals, the soil isn't just physical, it's also hormonal.
Okay. Shifting gears to hormones.
Right. The reason acupuncture has become one of the most sought-after tools in reproductive care is because it also tackles the psychological side of fertility.
Which is huge.
Huge. We're finally learning that the psychological is actually physiological.
Ugh, the mind-body connection. People use that phrase all the time, usually when they're, trying to sell a meditation app. But our sources are giving it real heavy biological weight here.
They really are.
They mentioned that acupuncture helps regulate the hormones governing the menstrual cycle while actively lowering stress hormones, specifically cortisol.
Cortisol is the major player here. I mean, going through fertility treatments or just the process of trying to conceive while facing roadblocks is incredibly stressful.
Unbelievably stressful, yeah.
And chronic stress isn't just an emotional burden. It is explicitly known to interfere with the delicate hormonal environment that eggs need to mature properly.
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit because I've had friends go through IVF, and I know for a fact that one of the most frustrating, almost insulting things you can say to a fertility patient is like, just relax and it'll happen.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's terrible. It implies the whole medical issue is their fault just for being in a bad mood. So people always say stress affects health, but the sources say it literally interferes with egg development. How does chronic stress actually physically hijack this delicate hormonal environment on a cellular level?
It is so important to call that out because telling someone to just relax is dismissive, and frankly, it usually backfires anyway.
Exactly. It makes you more stressed.
Right. It's not about forcing a positive attitude. Biologically, the mind and the reproductive organs are in a constant, unbroken dialogue through a pathway called the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis.
Okay, the HPA axis.
Yes. When you are chronically stressed, your brain signals your adrenal glands to pump out cortisol. If cortisol levels stay elevated, it signals to your entire biological system that you're currently in a literal life or death survival situation.
Like you're being chased by a bear.
Exactly.
And from a purely evolutionary standpoint, a life or death survival situation is the absolute worst time to try and grow a new human.
Exactly the point. Your body is smart. It says, hey, we are running from a predator right now. Shut down all non-essential functions.
No.
It literally diverts energy and blood flow away from the reproductive system and sends it straight to your skeletal muscles and your heart.
So you can run. That is wild.
This survival mechanism throws off the signaling of reproductive hormones, which directly impacts the maturation process of the egg inside that botanical garden we talked about.
Oh, I see.
So when therapies like acupuncture lower cortisol, it isn't just about feeling emotionally lighter. It is a biological imperative. You are actively turning off the body's alarm system to protect the developing eggs from a hostile hormonal environment.
Okay, that reframes it entirely. It takes the blame completely off the patient.
Completely.
It's not, you need to relax because your anxiety is ruining your chances.
Yeah.
It's more like we need to use clinical interventions to lower your cortisol because your biological survival mechanisms are currently overriding your reproductive systems.
That is a crucial distinction. And the clinical evidence backing this up is incredibly strong.
The sources mentioned some new data on this, right?
Yes, the 2024 to 2025 data from the Fertility and Sterility Journal specifically looked at this. They found that mind-body interventions actively and measurably improved depression, anxiety, and stress symptoms for patients undergoing intense treatments like IVF.
That's amazing.
Lowering that distress isn't a luxury. It's a measurable medical intervention that physically changes the biological landscape.
Which completely upends how we usually think about human anatomy. I mean, if stress and cortisol levels can literally dictate the cellular viability of a microscopic egg, it proves the reproductive system doesn't operate in a vacuum.
No, not at all.
It can't just be treated as this separate mechanical part you can pop out, fix, and put back in.
Right. It's intimately connected to every other system in the body.
Yeah.
And this realization is what's really driving the shift toward what the sources refer to as integrative medicine.
Integrative medicine. Let's dig into that.
Integrative medicine doesn't mean abandoning modern science. Far from it. It's the practice of utilizing the absolute best tools from conventional medicine, like IVF, surgical interventions, and advanced diagnostics, and marrying them with holistic medicine.
Because according to the data from places like Rupa Health, reproductive health is tied to so many other factors, right?
Exactly.
It's linked to your daily nutrition, your sleep architecture, the microbiome in your gut, your baseline inflammation levels, and just your overall systemic well-being.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the fertility sector is actually pioneering a model of medicine that refuses to treat the human body like a car engine with isolated parts.
I love that comparison.
The growing body of evidence strongly suggests that when you address the whole person, you don't just get a much more manageable, less traumatic treatment experience for the patient. You actually get better overall physical and clinical outcomes.
So what does this all mean for the future of medicine? To me, it seems like the patients themselves are the ones who drove this massive systemic change.
They absolutely did.
If 50% of people were already seeking out this complementary care on their own, the patients realized that treating just the ovaries wasn't enough. The clinical establishment finally looked at the data and had to admit, oh wow, the patients were right. We have to treat the whole machine.
The clinics are definitely adapting to the evidence, but, if treating the whole person is the new medical standard, then the treatments themselves can no longer be one-size-fits-all protocols.
They have to be super customized.
Highly meticulously individualized.
Which brings us to the next major pillar in our sources, the use of customized herbal medicine, specifically within the framework of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM.
To understand why customized herbs are being used alongside high-tech IVF, we have to talk about cellular timing.
Cellular timing, okay.
We mentioned the developing follicles earlier. One of the most critical facts in the frontiers in endocrinology data is that egg quality is largely determined in the months prior to ovulation.
Wait, months prior. I think the common assumption is that an egg is just produced that month, during that specific 28-day cycle.
It's a very common misconception.
I totally thought that.
Most people do. But the recruitment and maturation phase of an egg actually takes about 90 to 120 days.
3 to 4 months.
Yes, that 3 to 4 month window is a critical period of opportunity.
Wow.
Whatever your body is experiencing during those months, like the ambient stress levels, the systemic inflammation, the vascular blood flow, it is actively programming the cellular quality of the egg that will eventually be released.
Okay, so if a patient has this 3 to 4 month runway to actively influence the cellular quality of an egg, how does traditional Chinese medicine utilize herbs to target that specific window?
TCM operates on the fundamental principle that treatment must be tailored to the individual's current internal climate.
Internal climate.
Right. When a practitioner builds an herbal formula, they aren't pulling a generic fertility pill off a shelf. They assess the patient thoroughly. They look at your specific hormonal patterns, the exact characteristics of your menstrual cycle, your current stress markers, and your overall physical constitution.
So they're mapping out your specific internal ecosystem.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And based on that map, they craft a specific, customized combination of herbs.
Custom built for you.
Custom built. Research shows that these specific botanical combinations can regulate the menstrual cycle, significantly reduce inflammation of the reproductive tract, and combat something called oxidative stress.
Wait, let's define oxidative stress real quick, because that sounds like something happening to a piece of metal, not a human cell.
It's actually a great visual. Think of oxidative stress as cellular rust.
Cellular rust, ouch.
Yeah. As our bodies process oxygen and generate energy, we create byproducts called free radicals.
Okay.
If we don't have enough antioxidants to neutralize them, these free radicals bounce around and damage the DNA inside our cells, including the eggs.
So they're literally rusting our cells from the inside.
Basically, customized herbal formulas are packed with specific antioxidants designed to neutralize those free radicals. By stopping that cellular rust, you are preserving the genetic integrity of the egg during that critical months-long maturation window.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. We live in a culture obsessed with convenience, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If someone wants to improve their health, the default move is to go to the drugstore, walk down the supplement aisle, and buy a plastic bottle that just says fertility support or women's health.
Yep. Pop a pill and you're good.
But based on what you're saying, that's essentially a multivitamin shotgun approach. You're just throwing generic vitamins into your system and hoping your body knows what to do with them.
Which is vastly different from the holistic approach the sources describe.
Completely different. Based on the literature, it sounds like using customized TCM is less like buying a generic multivitamin and more like, say, using a highly calibrated sniper rifle. Or even better, it's like hiring a specialized sound engineer for a concert.
A sound engineer, I like that.
Yeah, like instead of just turning up the master volume on a radio and hoping it sounds okay, a practitioner is adjusting the bass, tweaking the midtones, and managing the acoustics specifically for the unique layout of your own body during that crucial months-long window.
That's a brilliant way to look at it. You're fine-tuning the internal environment.
Yeah.
And this raises an important question about how our society views wellness versus clinical care. We often equate those generic, off-the-shelf supplements with holistic health.
Right, because it's natural.
Exactly. But the sources are very clear. The difference between a generic supplement from a store shelf and a custom botanical formula built specifically for your body's current hormonal phase is substantial.
Night and day.
Customized herbal medicine, when done right, is an evidence-informed tool. It's not guesswork. It's carefully prescribed, monitored, and adjusted by specialists as your body changes.
And when you combine that highly customized, fine-tuned herbal approach with the upgraded botanical irrigation system of acupuncture, the sources talk about this compounding effect. They call it synergy.
Synergy is the ultimate goal of integrative medicine.
Because they work together.
Exactly. Acupuncture independently promotes that ovarian circulation and actively balances the nervous system by lowering cortisol. The custom herbs independently reduce oxidative stress and nourish the hormonal environment.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Put them together, and the two therapies work synergistically to create the absolute most favorable biological conditions possible for egg development.
It's as if they multiply each other's effectiveness rather than just adding to it.
Precisely.
And this isn't just theoretical research anymore either. The sources highlight the Berkley Center for Reproductive Wellness as a prime example of this new paradigm happening right now in the real world.
Yeah, they're really at the forefront.
They're a clinic where specialists are actively coordinating this exact evidence-informed, mind-body, customized herbal protocol and conventional medical care into highly personalized plans. It's all happening under one roof.
They're proving that patients don't have to choose between advanced science and ancient wisdom.
You can have both.
Yes. You can use the high-tech cryogenic freezers, the microscopes, and the IVF protocols, while simultaneously using acupuncture to optimize the blood flow and custom herbs to prime the cellular environment. It's the literal definition of whole person care.
It really is a medical revolution. So for you listening, let's look at the core journey we've taken through these sources today.
It's been a ride.
It has. Fertility care is no longer just about cold mechanical engineering in a sterile lab. It's undergoing this profound biological transformation. By taking the most cutting-edge conventional technology and pairing it with ancient, highly customized practices like acupuncture and targeted herbal medicine, practitioners are able to manipulate microcirculation, lower survival mode stress hormones, combat cellular rust, and actually treat the whole human being to achieve the best possible outcomes.
It's amazing.
The sterile laboratory and the holistic healing room haven't just met, they've completely merged.
It's a remarkable synthesis of human knowledge.
Yeah.
And looking at all of this evidence, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as we wrap up.
Let's hear it.
We've established for the medical journals that the ultimate quality of a biological cell, in this case the human egg, is largely determined by the specific environment it is exposed to for months before it actually matures and drops.
Right, that crucial 90 to 120 day runway.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if our daily inputs, our chronic stress levels, our localized microcirculation, our highly targeted botanical nutrition,
Ugh.
if these are literally programming the viability of our cells months in advance,
Yeah.
what if this months-long window of cellular preparation isn't just the key to human fertility?
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, what if this principle of meticulously tending to the microscopic botanical garden of our cells is actually the ultimate untapped blueprint for regenerating, healing, and optimizing the rest of the human body?
Wow. That completely changes how you look at every single choice you make today, knowing it's literally building the foundation for the cells you'll rely on months from now. That is mind-blowing.
It really makes you think.
It does. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible, evolving world of reproductive health. We hope this gave you a much clearer picture of the science, the synergy, and the power of treating the whole person. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep learning.